Coming to you from the Radio for One studios in Franklin, Michigan. Welcome to the Detroit Cast.
Big fan. Big fan.
A show not just free of charge, but free of FCC regulations.
Thank you for your support of the Detroit Cast.
Oh, there it is.
And without further delay, it's showtime. Please welcome the Detroit Cast. Here are your hosts, Mike and Jay.
I could care less.
Well, you're not the only one saying that. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Detroit Cast, powered by DealsInTheD.com with Mike and Jay. Shalom, Big E. Jay, how are you, my friend?
Great. Pleased to be with you, sir.
Is your throat any better today?
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Hopefully my illness will be transparent to the listeners.
I think it will be. You seem a little peppier today. I'll give you that.
Trying.
You know, when we left yesterday, was it towards the end of the show we were talking about E's dance place, and he was getting kind of fucking run.
It's technical, but
money.
I believe it was at the beginning of the show that we talked about this.
Was it? Okay.
But we did talk at length
And
off
you're
the
right,
air,
yeah,
and
yeah.
we coached him as to how to handle this situation.
Well, he wouldn't stop talking about it. Like, he'd come upstairs, I'm trying to work on shit, I've got headphones on, he's like, just one more thing. You know, dude, I just keep thinking about it. And I'm like, E, I know. What do you want me to do, man?
I know.
You're a 33-year-old man, 38-year-old man. You need to learn how to just say no. Be like Jay.
we offered to call even.
Yes.
Take care of this for him. He didn't want it.
And in fact, at the end, remember, he goes, no, I'll call him. And because we told him what to say, how to get his money back.
And I'm like, all right, turn on the mics. Put in a stick. Let's record this. He's like, no, fuck you. I'll do it on my own.
I'll do it on my own. And so we left by telling him, look, if you don't get anywhere with this today on your phone call on your own, off air, Jay and I have your permission and blessing to call them and handle it for you then. And so that's where we left it. So, E, are we calling the Arthur Murray Dance Studio today?
You know what? I forced myself on the way home to call and just deal with it, kinda. I mean, in the sense that as much as I could, but and I did.
Should we reset, by the way, for people that might not have heard this?
Yes, briefly.
He's getting free dance lessons.
20 free lessons in order to compete in the Dancing with the Stars competition, which is November 18th.
Right, which is still a couple weeks away. He ran through his 20 lessons. He did his recital, all that shit. And so
his instructor smartly upsold him into a package that cost, what, $500 for like four more sessions?
Yeah, it was about $500.
And E, trying to be a big shot, he's like, dude, I'm a Detroit star. I can't act like $500 will make or break me. But fuck, it'll make or break me. I can't lose $500.
So instead of like most human beings being presented with that offer, hey, here's a package, you could do more, and it's important that you get more dancing in between now and the competition, most people would go, you know what, let me look at my calendar, I'll get back to you. That's a great idea. Yeah, I am interested, but I know I have a lot going on next week, so I'll get back to you on that. Instead of doing that,
I will say,
he fucking, oh, dude, okay, yes,
you know what?
Here's my card.
He bought a package that will take him continue his dance lessons beyond the fucking 18th.
well, here's the thing, and look at, dude, I love the girl I'm dancing with. I really do, and the thing is, she's doing
Veronica.
She's doing a job, and she does have a job to do, this and that. But it wasn't. Look, it wasn't like I just said, like, yes right away. I sat there.
Did you hem and haw?
I definitely hemmed.
You did not haw.
Yes, I did.
No,
dude.
you didn't. If you would have hawed after
You never haw.
No.
Dude, if you would have successfully hawed after you hemmed, we wouldn't be having this discussion.
I disagree, dude.
Period.
I was sitting there, and I'm like, man, do I really need all of these?
Classic hem.
And she's like, well, we need to get these in, blah, blah. And I'm like,
Never heard a haw
Nope.
there. Not one.
All I hear is hemming.
fine, whatever, dude.
So then you handed it over. Here's my card.
Fine, take it.
Well, here's the thing, though, dude. I get what she was doing. I understand why she's doing it, and it's my fault. I should have just said what you guys said and say, no, you know what, I need to look at this, or no, you know what, I really wasn't interested in paying into this. This was kind of a thing I'm doing for the charity. But I didn't.
Yeah.
You could have just said, nah, fuck that, man. As soon as the 18th comes out, I don't want to dance anymore.
Look, to her credit, and I think probably for what she does, and I think when you do things like this, you have to be. And Gab would know this, dude. You're with her gym.
Yeah, you have to be a bit of a salesperson, right?
If you just sit there and don't get these people like, come on. It's the same with the charity that I've been doing with the drive. If you don't just get in people's faces.
What do they say? A Big E's born every minute.
People don't. No, that's not it. People don't tend to want to just do that. So you have to be like, go. So I get that, and probably with most of her customers that are coming in there to learn dancing, she probably does regularly kind of be like, "Hey, come on, let's keep this going. Let's keep this going."
So you called over there, and did you just cancel the charge?
No,
how did we do this? What did we
still
do?
wanted to. I still did want. I did not want to, for one, just show up. I mean, she's not going to be here this week. I didn't have any free ones left over. I did not want to just show up in 2 weeks not having gone through any dance.
Gotta stay sharp, man.
So I couldn't do it this week because of her schedule and my schedule. We couldn't do this week, but I just went down from 6 classes, what I had signed up for, to 2 next week. So I'm going to do 2.
Okay.
And so I got. I'm not going to say.
What was $500 becomes?
I'm not going to say exactly, but significantly.
$450.
No. Under 200.
Oh, okay. All right. You can live with that. That gives you enough wiggle room to buy your ballerina shoes.
Actually, I'm lucky. I might be lucky on that. I had someone reach out to me and said they
ballroom dancing shoes.
Him and his wife had at a point got into ballroom dancing and took a series of lessons.
That's awesome.
And he said
he's lending them to you.
He asked me what the size. I have to see what the size is. As long as the size fits, though, he'll let me use them for the weekend.
Do not do something where you're stuffing napkins in the toes.
No. If it doesn't fit,
squishing your foot. Let's do this right.
If it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. But
good point.
I'll definitely. Well, no, I'm not gonna. No, but I'm not gonna stuff stuff in there. I'm not gonna try to force it. If it fits, I'll use them. If it doesn't, I'll buy black dress shoes. But I did get it cut down. And
Good.
I'll say this: when I was calling them, dude,
was it hard?
It was so hard for me, dude. I'm sitting there like giving her like 10 apologies. I'm like,
I knew you would be.
I'm like, I'm so sorry.
So did
I'm
you
not
lie? What did you do? Did you just
I told her
appeal to the fact that you don't want to pay it?
Yeah, I told her flat out. I'm like, you know what? I know this is my fault. I shouldn't have agreed to something I didn't, at the time. I don't even know if you can do anything.
He can't lie, by the way. I don't know if you know that.
I don't know if you do any. I don't know if you can do anything for him. But you know what? I really was just trying to do this for charity. I didn't want to pay.
I'm a charity.
This amount of money. Is there something I can do? And
well, that was very forthright because we presented you with 8 different lies you could have floated out.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah. All you had to do was keep a straight face and go with any one of a myriad that we presented you.
Going out of town, the guys need me in Atlanta for a furries convention.
Yep, been called into action.
I think it really pisses me off society, to be honest with you, in this aspect, because I have been screwed. No, I have been screwed several times for telling the truth. And you know what? I hate that. Honestly, I believe in the notion of being able to tell them, just, look, I made a mistake.
You're right.
And the notion of having to make up some lie is stupid to me. And the problem is, though,
But the lie is for their purpose. You're
That's not the
you're
point.
saving
But
them.
it's a stupid game because they know he's lying too. So his point is like, why can't I just be honest and be like, hey, I didn't want to sign up for this.
Spend that
And
kind
me
of
and
money.
Ty, I've talked about this with Ty before, where he has gotten, because there have been times where I've done that before, and then it screws me. They take advantage of it. They don't give me what I want. They say, whatever the reasoning is, and it pisses me off that we have this notion that, well, if I just tell some lie, they have to deal with it. Oh, my great aunt died. I can't be there.
Do you think he'll ever get to it? Because I'm between you, Jay, and Biggie. Biggie is pathetic.
No, I don't want to lie. That's the difference.
No. I don't want to lie either. I don't like confrontation. Jay has no problem. Jay's just like, fuck, whatever, dude. Here, it is what it is. I present you this. This is my position, and it's over. And I have other friends that do that. I'm like, God, I wish I could be like that. But I'm way better than E at that. Do you think there's any hope for him changing?
No hope.
Or is he going to die like that?
He'll die like that, yeah.
Apologizing profusely for shit he didn't do wrong.
You're right. I hate confrontation.
And then it becomes uncomfortable because he's apologizing so much. Like, stop it, man.
I know.
Yeah.
No, you're right. At the end, I think I
he's a mess.
apologized like 20 times to this lady.
But he's $300 richer.
Sure is.
Yeah.
Good for
that's
you.
a big
Good
difference,
job.
man. That is a big difference to me.
Hell yeah.
And I still get a few lessons. I was okay with that.
Yeah.
But
That's
okay.
good.
Good.
Hey, Big E isn't the only fool making news with his penis-softening dance skills and fundraising prowess. Zott Ford's in the game with its red-hot Clear the Lot year-end clearance event on all remaining 17 vehicles in stock. While supplies last, save up to 30% on a new 17 Ford F-150 Super Cab 4x4 that's nearly $13,000 off sticker, or lease that F-150 as low as $161 a month. Surf their outrageous deals and massive inventory at dealsinthed.com.
E, I want to. Lastly, I'll just say I'm kind of proud of you for being honest, because had you lied and said that we had you running around, it's not just possible; it's highly likely that Jay and I would have called and told them that was bullshit.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? Like it's honestly, isn't that more
Just
likely
to mix
than
things up?
Yeah, just to see. Let's throw a wrench into this white lie that he's told here.
Yeah, so
You
that
know
was
what?
ultimately a good move.
I'll
Brady.
say,
Yeah.
you know what? It may be fucking corny as hell. Like I said, honestly, I don't believe that we should have to go through these games, and I hate that we
Honesty's
do.
the best policy.
I do believe that. I believe that I'd rather just tell someone the truth in that situation. Unfortunately, like I said, I think sometimes that does not work out for you. But
Now I got you.
oh well.
Well, good job, E.
Thanks.
Hey, Lions going to the Super Bowl? Anyone? What do you think? Huh?
Yeah, E, you feeling better about this team?
They,
I
Fair
told you,
weather
chill
fan.
out, dude. Look
Fair
at their
weather over
schedule; they'll
here.
be fine.
I know you're right. They got now that they have this win under their belt. What do they got? Cleveland and I'm trying
Minnesota
to
on
think
Thanksgiving.
games they should win in the division. Minnesota.
They
You're
said
right.
the toughest games they've got left are against the Vikings and the Ravens.
Yeah, they've got Cleveland at Chicago, Minnesota at Baltimore, at Tampa Bay, Chicago at home, at Cincinnati, Green Bay at home.
God, they should win the division, right? Is that the
Oh,
deal?
dude,
Like, is that the
that's
deal?
what
They
they're calling
should-
for in the papers. That it's like they would really have to fuck up to not win the division, which is hilarious because they're 2 games behind Minnesota right now. But you look at what Minnesota has coming up: Washington. That's no pushover. The LA Rams are on fire right now. They're smoking teams. The Lions, Atlanta, Carolina, all those teams we played early
Yeah,
on.
they're running the gauntlet that we did earlier.
Exactly.
We,
So
the Detroit Lions did, I mean.
yeah, right. But yeah, you know what? I watched that game. Of course, I watch all the games. Unlike Fairweather over here, who puts up with a quarter or a half and then
You know
bails.
what?
I've actually
He's a
watched most-
reasonable consumer.
I've actually watched
Good
more.
for you, E.
I will say this: I've watched more Lions. I haven't watched a full Michigan football game all year. I don't think, but
If
I've watched
entertained,
more
he'll watch.
Lions.
If not, he won't. He's reasonable.
Dude, it's funny. Like forever, that was the worst thing you could throw at someone. Fucking Fairweather fan.
I used
it was
to
like,
say it.
oh man, how insulting to call. But it's like, dude, if you were going to a place and getting a shitty haircut,
Right.
you wouldn't keep going
No,
back.
you
to
wouldn't.
Fairweather haircut getter.
Yeah.
Like, no, you just go. No, the product's not good. I'm not gonna consume it.
But I'll say this:
Why do we feel that way? Like, I feel better because it's like I was there through
Yeah.
thick and thin. I watched every second of that
But
shit.
the reality is, you're not getting a fucking plaque from the team for saying, "Hey, thanks for hanging in with us through all that bullshit." No,
Banking
you're
on
getting
that.
nothing, dude.
Maybe. You don't know. We don't know what the future holds.
well, I'll say this though: I still don't in any level support or believe in cheering for any team other than the place you were born. Like for me, like the Lions are my team. Whether I watch less at times or watch more at times, I would the idea
It's not
of
like
like
you're replacing them.
no, yeah, the idea that I'm not watching Lions, but now I'm watching. Oh, who's hot right now? I don't know, whatever is Tampa Bay.
So you're
hot?
not a real football fan, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm not.
I know what you're
I-
saying.
dude,
You're a
I've said-
Detroit fan.
I've said that all along.
I know,
though.
I know.
So if you transplant to St. Louis, you're not going to become
No.
a Cardinals fan. And
No.
Yeah.
I will be a Lions fan my whole life, no matter what. In that sense, I just might watch less or more at times, depending on how good the team is.
Yeah.
Reasonable.
Well, what I liked about last night, now, granted, they're playing Green Bay with a banged up defense and Hundley at quarterback, who,
Brett Hundley?
Yeah, one of the reporters today, I can't remember who it was saying, yeah, he's probably not as good as a few quarterbacks in college right now.
How about Colin Kaepernick?
Yeah, Colin Kaepernick. People are saying the Texans should go after him, which would be interesting because wasn't he the owner that was like, inmates running the prison?
Yeah,
Wasn't that the
absolutely.
Texans
Yep.
owner? But then their quarterback, Deshaun Watson, went down for the year, and it's like, this would make perfect sense. Another running quarterback, been in the league a long time, it would make sense. But I don't know, with him suing the league, we'll see where that goes. But what I liked about the Lions last night is they put together a full game.
That's true.
Dude, it drives me nuts when it's like they look like shit for 3 quarters, and then in the fourth, when people lay back and go into a prevent D, and all of a sudden the Lions are moving the ball and looking good and make it close.
In the last 3 years, that's what it's been.
Yeah. And so last night to come out, against another NFL team, I don't care how banged up they are. The Lions are banged up too.
It's on the road still, too.
They looked good. Yeah, on the road in Lambeau. They looked good. And when it mattered, when Green Bay went down and marched 78 yards and scored a touchdown, the Lions were on the verge of this 3-and-out. That could, with 10 minutes left, that could have changed everything. And then that quick out to Riddick and run 63 yards. They score a couple plays later, and boom, you're off and running. So, it was good to see them put that together. They finally looked like that team we were seeing the first couple weeks. This is going to be an interesting run here at the end.
Although still in the end, in the red zone, man. I mean, they still can't run the ball
Yeah,
for
I know.
anything. So if they can't get a passing touchdown,
Yeah.
you're done.
Yeah, well, they've got the receivers to do it, and
I know.
I don't know. I don't
And he
think
made
it's
some throws
Abdullah's
last night,
fault.
man.
Oh, dude, Stafford looks amazing. He absolutely
When
does.
he's
I
good,
don't-
he's fucking awesome, dude. He
Yeah.
put some balls last night in places that were amazing to
Well,
me.
he was only sacked once instead of 46 times last week and the week before. I mean, it's been
That helps.
absurd. So to have a week off, the bye week, that kind of shit, and then kind of get back together. It's going to be a fun next few weeks. Hopefully they keep it up.
Good. People can go to the Hamlin Pub and watch the games. The Hamlin Pub supports the Detroit Cast, so let's make it a point to support them. With locations in Rochester Hills, Clarkston, Chesterfield, 2 in Shelby Township. You know there's one near you. The Hamlin Pubs have great food, ice-cold drinks, tons of craft beers, TVs, games, and great entertainment. Come on by or book your reservation today at hamlinpubs.com.
Dude, am I out of line to say that maybe I'm thinking Johnny Langendorf is getting too much hero credit?
Yeah, it's the other guy, right?
Yeah.
What's that guy's name? Starts with a W?
Yeah, Willeford.
Yeah.
Stephen Willeford.
Yeah, he's the hero. Johnny I think...
Right spot, right time, safe to say?
Definitely.
He drove the car, called the cops. It was great.
There's definitely a huge swath of the population who would not have stopped and who would have gone, oh, fuck, and got the hell out of there. But
is there, if you were
not in
parked at a gas
Texas.
station?
Not in Texas.
Hell no.
Get off my land.
You don't mess with Texas.
You don't mess with
Texas.
Texas.
99.9% of men in Texas would have done what Johnny Langenbrunner did. Langendorf?
Langendorf.
Sure.
Langendorf, yeah. Tattooed and the big old cowboy hat.
Yeah.
Dude, honestly, if you're parked at a gas station and some guy comes barefoot running to you going, motherfucker, shooting up our church, I think I would be like, hop in, dude, let's go. I would chase him. I would.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that I'd be like, oh, shit, I'm having car trouble, beat it.
Yeah.
Like, you just would. Adrenaline would take over. It's not an immediate, there's not someone with a knife in your face. It's not an immediate, it's like, oh, now we're going on a car chase. This is going to be dope. Let's go.
Am I wrong? Didn't he see some of the exchange of fire between the guys? I mean, you see one guy in a skull mask, and you see another guy bare feet holding the rifle. It's like, who's the good guy here?
Yeah, I wonder. Isn't that funny how that always plays out?
Yeah.
The bad guy always looks like the bad guy.
Yeah, right.
But Stephen Willeford is getting some props, and when you're reading it, I'm like,
that's the guy right
dude,
there.
This is his daughter comes running from the church to him and just says, someone's shooting up the church. He doesn't even put his shoes on. Motherfucker grabs his rifle and barrels out the door and shot the guy.
That's Texas.
Dude.
Get off my land.
He said, this is why this story is kind of like, fuck. Yeah, we got to report hero guy, but this sucks. Yeah, he's an NRA member, and yeah, he teaches like firearm safety and firearms whatever, and so it doesn't go with the anti-gun narrative that is really strong anytime something like this happens, because it's what the NRA says all the time. And I'm not a fan of the NRA by any stretch, like whatever. I'm not taking sides here, but the NRA is like,
it fits their argument perfectly.
When it comes down to it and you're cornered like rats, don't you want someone walking in there that can fucking try to defend you?
I want a Willeford.
You want Willeford on the spot to run across the street barefoot and just take up arms against some dude and took him down. The accounts are coming out from people that got out of the hospital that took one in the arm and were hiding, playing dead, all that kind of stuff. And they're like, yeah, this guy was walking up and down the aisles 15 times looking for any movement, anyone with a cell phone trying to call 911. Boom.
How is anyone alive in that instance then? You know what I mean? How does anyone make it out alive when you have that time to walk up and down the aisles and just...
Yeah. Ask Willeford, because he would have kept walking up and down those aisles. He went through 450 rounds and
how is anyone alive?
Pews, man. They're under the pews.
Dude, pews don't stop shit, man.
But if you're getting some cover under a pew and you're playing dead, you're playing possum at this point, and there's carnage all around you, he's going around looking for little kids screaming for their mothers. He's looking for anyone wiggling, and as soon as he'd see anything, and then he was on his way to putting them all that, like doing exactly what you said. This would have been 50 massacred people had it not been for this guy coming in, busting through the door and shooting him, and then him taking off. Like, that's it. He had more rounds, and he was going aisle to aisle, just he thought they were dead, still put a bullet in their head, put a bullet in them. And he walked in and he said, everybody dies, motherfucker. That's the only thing he said. Everybody dies, motherfucker, is what one of the witnesses said.
Evil, man.
Yeah, pure evil. So yeah, I don't want to take anything away from Langendorf, but it's like, come on, we got to give Willeford proper due here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you wonder what would have happened though if Langendorf hadn't given chase. You know, would the guy have bled out? You know, because he was hit, I think, once in the leg, once in the torso.
Yeah.
By Willeford. Would he have gone somewhere else, shot more people? He didn't have his semi-auto at that point. Am I correct on that? But
I think you're
did
right.
Have some pistols.
He did have a 9mm in his car. He bought like 4 guns over the last 2 years, and one of them was a 9mm. One of them was this, I don't know, Ruger, whatever. It's AR-15 family, but it's not that. But yeah, I think you're right. He didn't have that gun, but he had a 9mm, and who knows how many rounds he had, and he could have done more damage. But, you know, the fact is he got out of control, crashed the car, took a turn too fast.
Honestly,
and then
most
shot
dudes,
himself.
if we're honest with ourselves, like that's kind of like the get out of jail free, like funnest thing you could ever do. It's sort of like having a baby. You know, your wife goes into labor, you're
Yeah.
like, it's on, NASCAR, boom,
110.
we're going,
Let's go.
Rubbins racing, whatever. I'm getting to the hospital. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
That's the same deal, right?
Yeah.
A live gunman situation. Chase him down. There he is. Fuck yes.
Hell yes. And he's like, he was proud on the news. Doing 95, maybe 100.
Yeah.
It's like, hell yeah, dude. It's exactly what you do. Will that automatically get you out if you're like, dude, my wife, she's crying?
No, in fact, I've heard that people get ticketed in
bullshit.
that instance more and more.
Really?
But I was having none of it.
Explosive diarrhea, will that get you out of it?
No, I don't think so.
Fuck. Because that's my go-to. Officer, I'm telling you, it's explosive. I've got to go right now.
I think if that's the case, though, then you have to. I think you
have to show it?
I think you have to prove it.
Remember my brother had that friend that had the bag? The colostomy bag?
Yeah, I do.
And was wasted at the bar and then gets pulled over and ripped his bag out and starts spraying shit all over. And he's like, I'm sorry, officer, I'm having a problem with my colostomy bag. The officer's like, no, as you were. Go. It's like, fuck, dude, that's awesome. Who knew?
Get out of jail free.
Incredible. Dude, what happens with the Air Force?
Somebody dropped the ball.
Is this going to be major lawsuits? Can you sue the government over this?
No, probably not. Although, you know, it makes you wonder, dude. Is this dude just evil? He would have got guns anyway. You know what I mean?
Of course. Anybody that's willing to go in and gun down. I mean, you're right. But for technical terms, and you as a lawyer know this more than anybody.
You got to, it's tough to sue a governmental entity, but they'll make the argument that this was grossly negligent.
Yeah, and there's a strong argument for that. I mean, he's not supposed to have a gun, period.
And he bought all of these legally through legal processes where you fill out the thing.
The stores ran the instant background checks, and nothing came back.
And at the
Everything
time, the
checked
law
out.
was that he should have been put on the list.
Oh, he was definitely on the list, and someone in the Air Force, you know, he's dishonorably discharged. He was found guilty of beating the shit out of his wife and purposely breaking the skull of the kid. And so it was like, no.
I don't think, by the way, that it was technically a dishonorable discharge. It was some other sort of discharge, but your point's the same.
Yeah.
It was some sort of discharge, and it put him in jail for 12 months. It should have been recorded into the FBI database, which would have put him on a list, a no-buy list.
What other kind of discharge is there if it's...
It's like a bad behavior or something.
Really?
Yeah, it's something different.
Because I had read all along dishonorable discharge. That's what they were reporting, but a lot of parts of this story change. I'm not doubting that. But yeah, it said something like... That offense means you can't have a weapon at all for 5 years without incident. You're on probation for a long time. But I think it became a bigger problem for him because of the Air Force thing. His role there meant he's not supposed to have one for life, period.
Really?
A gun, yeah.
Well, if you think about it, dude, it makes a hell of a lot of sense in the context of what's where you have a domestic violence issue.
Yeah.
Makes a hell of a lot of sense to put those people on the list because, dude, honestly, until recently, what was the first thing you thought of when there was a mass shooter situation? You're like, oh, some fucking guy got dumped. He went in there and killed his girlfriend and 4 other dudes standing around her at work. What a dick. Now that's not where your mind immediately goes, but that's where those things really bore out of for many, many years.
And this is kind of that, isn't it?
Sounds like it. Yeah.
Where his ex-wife's family went to this church, and he was sending threatening notes recently to
his grandmother-in-law was there and killed.
Really?
Yeah.
And he was sending these threatening letters or something to his ex-mother-in-law. So yeah, I don't know. And people are saying he was just kind of a weird guy and all that kind of stuff. But having those not entered into the National Criminal Information Center database. Dude, that's a step that should be taken, like, immediately. I don't know what the thing is, but I can't imagine these families aren't going to go, does this prevent this? In my opinion, 100% not. This guy will find his guns or take a truck and run it through the place. Like, whatever. He's an insane person. But having that fact left off to make it more difficult for him is, boy, oh, boy.
And, bad conduct
discharge. Can you Bing E really quick? Not that it matters. Can you just Bing what's the difference between bad conduct discharge and dishonorable discharge? Maybe it's pay and what you get pay wise or something. Just an awful story. But yeah, having him pass all those background checks, And he's another one of these too. He got in trouble a few years ago for animal cruelty. I guess he beat the shit out of a dog. Like anytime you read stuff like that, it's like this. Who beats up a kid and breaks their skull and beats their wife and a dog?
Piece of shit.
Yeah, but what do you do, man? What do you do? Okay, so before this happens, and you call and you go,
Air Force, you definitely check the box, number one.
First.
That's one thing.
Yep, that's good.
But yeah, a guy like that, there's just evil, fucked up. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it at length. It's really a hard one to solve.
Well, I keep seeing people, because when I got into my Twitter war, and I honestly wasn't trying to troll people, I was just like legitimately asking the question, like, okay, well, give me the solution then. If it's something that needs to be done by our inept government, they're going to be the solution to this. Hilarious. Like, what is it then? And nobody can do it.
You have a government who couldn't even check the box.
Exactly. Yet a lot of people are saying mental health. It's got to be mental health.
Such a spectrum. That's such a tough one. You're into fucking weeds when you even just bring that up. Like, where do we even start with that?
Yeah. I mean, when did they shut those down? 20, 30 years ago? They closed all those down, like all those rotting hospitals, those weird, mental institutes all over the country. What, are you going to open them back up? And then what? Some guy's just acting weird. He's talking to the clouds. What, you lock him up, throw him away?
He's just eccentric.
Yeah.
Is he crazy? Is he a psychopath, or is he just a eccentric dude who wants to look at the clouds and talk?
And the problem is, if you're willing, just like we always say, if you're willing to kill yourself and you have no respect for your own life, then you can do anything. You can plan something horrific and pull it off. There's just not much you can do about it. Any word there, E, does it say?
Here's bad conduct discharge.
It's a punitive discharge that's imposed by court-martial. Court-martial is a criminal trial that's conducted by the military. Mm-hmm. You're not entitled to any veteran or military benefits if you receive a bad conduct discharge from a general court-martial.
Well, that stinks. It's no good. Anyway, moving on to other things. If you find it, E, maybe we can check back in. You heard about these Paradise Papers?
No, remind me what that is.
Remember the Panama Papers that came out? It was that trove of, 11 million documents that came out in 2015 detailing, financial data on a couple 100,000 companies and entities, like where they're keeping their money and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It was a big deal, but 11 million papers, I'm not going through all that. That's just too much. Whatever they're doing, they're doing.
Where to start, and they probably wouldn't understand it even if I tried
it's
to
all
read
this
them.
Really high-end financial talk, and there's 11 million pages. I just don't have the time, and so I just put it off. Anyway, there's a sequel. It's called The Paradise Papers, brought to you via the same two German journalists who received the earlier data dump. The leaks detail the massive sums of money parked in some 25,000 companies, headquartered for tax reasons in places like the Cayman Islands, the British Virgin Islands, Bermuda, and the Isle of Man. The money that is going into tax havens is actually money that is normally not being taxed. That is money that is being missed by the U.S., German, and U.K. That is money that could otherwise be used for hospitals, schools, whatever else. And it's like, oh, okay. But then I started reading about Paul Hewson. You know Paul Hewson.
Remind me.
You might know him by his stage name of Bono.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, Paul. Come on, Paul Hewson.
Oh, Paulson.
And Paulie. Is he Paulie? Paulenstein? What do we call Paul?
Paulither.
Well, Paul, he's got this anti-poverty lobby group that he launched a few years ago called One. You're familiar with the One group?
Yeah.
And he's done these blistering attacks on secretive foreign tax havens that allow very rich people to squirrel away their wealth. It sternly declared that tax havens were preventing massive sums from being spent on the all-important fight against extreme poverty, disease, and hunger. Anonymous shell companies and trusts are often being used to siphon much-needed funds out of developed and developing countries alike. They're costing the third world a staggering sum of $1 trillion each year. Calling for anonymous trusts and companies to be abolished. Knowing who really owns and controls these entities would go a long way to follow the money and root out this corruption. Well put, Bono. That's. I agree with everything he just said there.
Well, yes, he's doing the same thing.
Yeah. Well, he supported. He started the One Foundation with Bill Gates. Probably Melinda's help too. Probably more Melinda than Bill, to be honest with you. And Bob Geldof. Well, yesterday, as part of this dump here, it's emerged that Bono is actually something of an expert on strangely named shell companies, which are secretly set up in tax havens in order to help very rich people avoid taxes. The voice of conscience happens to have been a director and major shareholder in an organization that goes by the name of Nude Estates. And it was incorporated in Malta roughly 10 years ago in order to help him invest in the Lithuanian property market. It's a good property market.
It's hot.
I mean,
It's hot.
It's definitely a buyer's market then, 10 years ago. Bono collaborated with a couple Irish business associates to form the offshore company, which then paid £5.1 million to acquire this shopping center. They had a nice little pizza joint.
Lithuania?
Yeah. And it's on the outskirts of a small town called Utena. It's got a tanning studio, clothing stores. It was owned by Nude Estates until 2012, whereupon ownership was transferred from the company, registered in Malta, where they paid a tax of 5%, business tax, to another secretive firm called Nude Estates One. This organization also counted Bono as director and shareholder, based in Guernsey, where tax on company profits is a handy 0%.
There must be some mistake here, Mike.
I don't know.
There's got to be some explanation. Bono wouldn't do this.
The mall's various holding companies were reportedly able to avoid paying taxes from 2010 until 2016, despite declaring profits in 5 of those 6 years. They're leaning on we had a really rough start out of the gate, and so we're making that money back that we lost. What the tax authorities will make of this, it remains to be seen, according to this article. It should be stressed, Bono has not been accused of breaking any laws. The size of his stake in the offshore firm remains unknown. However, this is in many ways is beside the point, for while they may be perfectly legal, his offshore tax gymnastics nonetheless represent the very epitome of celebrity hypocrisy. Here, after all, is a hugely famous pop star who has repeatedly used his public profile to campaign for secretive offshore tax havens to be abolished. Yet now it emerges that the sanctimonious singer is a private, very enthusiastic client of at least 2 such tax havens.
So he likes keeping his money, does he?
Bono's private finances have been found to be surprisingly at odds with his public pronouncements. In 2006, after the Irish government decided to cap the tax breaks that U2 had benefited from for years, the band famously decided to move one of their most lucrative portions of business empire offshore. So the company U2 Limited, which handles their publishing royalties, how much is that worth with their catalog, was duly transferred to the Netherlands. Their royalty income has been largely tax-free ever since.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Yes. There's a little bit more here. It's so funny. Bono has devoted the past 20 years to an earnest campaign to make poverty history by lobbying Western governments to spend taxpayers' money on overseas aid, yet here he was taking elaborate steps to reduce the amount those same governments could raise from him. He has criticized big companies in Africa which aren't returning the wealth to the people in any kind of fair measure, but doesn't appear to believe that such standards ought to apply to him. He once gave a stern lecture
What an asshole.
at Davos with David Cameron on the evils of tax avoidance. Meanwhile, Paul has also developed lucrative contracts among Silicon Valley billionaire entrepreneurs. He's a partner in a venture capital firm called Elevation, which is said to have made more than $1 billion from early investing in Facebook, a company which last year paid $5 million on the $850 million they made in taxes, which was in 2016 revealed to be paying taxes on its global profits at a rate of just 3.6% a year. Lastly, to the occasional annoyance of Paul's fans, endless political hectoring has become a central pillar of a U2 concert. He once even chose to begin a gig. Oh
no.
He began a gig in Glasgow by standing silently on stage. What an artist. And then he would go.
Did the audience pick up on that rhythm?
I guess. And he said, "Every time I clap my hands, a child dies." And someone in the crowd went, "Then stop clapping your hands." That is a true story. Actually, he said, "Then stop fucking clapping."
Nice, dude.
Oh, Paul.
Oh, Paul. What are you doing, Paul?
For the record, I have no problem with people legally moving their money around to avoid taxes. Good for them. But if you're going to stand out there and, be this voice of stop moving your money around, tax money should go to the poor.
Yeah.
It's a bad look.
Bono or Paul, excuse me, apparently came out and was like, "Look, this is horrifying. If any of this is true, this is an outrage, that kind of thing." You know, like, you know. But he has made quotes like, "Look, I'm still a businessman. I need to do right by the company. But if you're going to go out there and stand on your soapbox and tell people like, look, it's bullshit. You're making so much money, and by doing these little games while legal, you know what you're doing." You're keeping all that money for yourself, and it's not being able to truly go and help people that need it. And then you find out this shit's going on. It's like, well, Bono, you haven't paid a tax on your fucking music royalties in years? Seriously? I mean, it just looks bad. It looks bad.
And who couldn't see that coming, though? Like, dude, you have all these business interests, and you're going to call out people for paying taxes. Like, you really think all your business interests are just sitting in the highest taxed position on the planet? Like, it's just a weird... You're just setting yourself up for what's happening here, being pointed at as a hypocrite.
Yeah, and it's the hypocrisy that I think people hate so much.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
always is. But I don't blame him for looking into Lithuania. I mean, it is uniquely tucked between Poland, Belarus, and Latvia.
Gorgeous, especially this time of year, all three. Did you
agree.
see someone sent us a video on Montenegro?
I watched it.
Absolutely stunning. Gorgeous. Why do we not have property in Montenegro?
I know.
Dude, what are we doing?
Right there on the Adriatic.
Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
I need to be there.
I know Lithuania has
Oh,
some...
good. Well put.
Whatever. It has some
Beautiful
water.
coastline on the
Yeah,
Baltic Sea.
Right. Yeah.
What's our biggest problem? Is it just being on that side of the earth that's the problem that's keeping us out of Montenegro?
That's keeping us out of Montenegro?
Yeah. Because I don't know that I want to move families there. You know what I mean?
I mean, you know, Kickstarter funds, I wouldn't say are waning, but, you know.
Who are our closest neighbors in Montenegro? Is it the Estans? Are we close to the Estans?
Yeah, we're close to the
see?
Estans.
Yeah, that's a
There's
That
a few
concerns
bad
you?
ones.
yeah, a little bit.
But you're just a water away from Italy.
I believe they would call that a hop, skip, and a jump.
Right.
Yeah, Italy would be nice. Tuscany this time of year is gorgeous. Go for some wine right now. Anyway, we're keeping our eye on Montenegro. Maybe we do a new Kickstarter.
Maybe we do something. We'll see.
Harbinger Weinstein, the plot thickens with him.
The amount of energy this guy put into trying to bury stories and bury accusers.
How do you ever make a movie?
It's like, dude, how are you so controlled by this urge to do this?
I don't know.
You've got all the money in the world. You've got this power. Wow. You know, you're letting your dick control your whole life like this. The story you're about to tell is that he hired a group of spies.
Yeah, to dig up, like, seriously, like high-end
former
motherfuckers.
Israeli spies to dig up shit on accusers and to
Yeah.
bury stories with reporters and so forth.
But it's like Mike
Like-
always says this: just buy it, dude.
I
mean,
don't
just
understand
buy
it.
a high-class prostitute
Every
at
day
least or something. I mean,
Every day,
whatever.
you spend 25 grand on a new girl that will come over and do absolutely
right, so let
anything you want
jerk
for
off on
24
her
hours.
leg or whatever, and you'll.
Yeah.
I mean,
It must be. It has to be more mental, and it has to be more the frightened look, the look of terror on a
gotta
girl's
be.
face as you're
control.
jacking off on her leg.
The control over this young person that you know needs you to get to the
Yeah.
next stop.
He
That's
also
all part of it.
He also liked bragging to the Ben Afflecks of the world about which models and actresses
Yeah.
he fucked. Like that, he was a big talker. You know, probably just a fat loser most of his life. Couldn't score a
Totally.
chick, and so now he's got this opportunity. But you know, I'm with you, man. At what point do you go, dude? I mean, you would think you could take a step back and go, look what I'm doing. Holy shit!
All to get my rocks off.
I've got an
It's crazy.
army of spies trying to go out and dig up dirt on journalists, any journalist that there's a hint of them wanting to do a negative story on me. I'm digging up dirt not only on them, but their family, and they're going to their ex-wives, trying to get dirt on them. So you go, oh yeah, you run that story, I'm going public with this. Fucking asshole. And doing that to multiple journalists. Rose McGowan, her book's coming out. And trying to dig into that. Sending fake people over there to act like women's activist victims. To talk to Rose McGowan about what we can do. Companies are set up with actual phone numbers and websites to make it look authentic. All bullshit.
It's a lot of energy.
It's a grocery store in North Korea. You know what I mean? With plastic fruit in the window that looks good. All bullshit.
How about you just don't force yourself on chicks?
Yeah. How about we don't hump random 20-year-olds' legs? How about we start there? You know, save yourself all the money. Do whatever you can. So yeah, I mean, it's incredible.
Quite a story.
It's incredible. You know, the lengths these guys will go to. The other one is Kevin Spacey, and I assume we could probably for 3 years do another story every day about someone that got their dick grabbed.
Talking about Kevin Fowler?
Yeah, excuse me, Kevin Fowler. But another BuzzFeed News is the one that broke the original story, right? I believe. Or was it the New York Times?
About Harbinger?
No, about Spacey.
I don't know.
Anyway, so there was a lot of talk, and you remember House of Cards creator came out and was like, oh, I've got no idea about this. This is an outrage. If we had any idea, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
They love doing that stuff. So the story is about House of Cards, and so this was Netflix's first foray into this original content thing. And if you look at Netflix now, original content is they're dominating with that. But it was a risk then. So they blindly ordered 26 episodes, 2 seasons of House of Cards, and outbidding a bunch of other people that wanted this thing, with heavy expectations placed on the show's early years. The set was a nerve-wracking place to be, especially given the high level of talent involved. You got Kevin Spacey playing the star as Francis Underwood, a devious, murderous congressman. He was executive producer as well. The stories that have emerged paint a picture of a man who has behaved with sexual impunity, even when in a professional environment. Because he was so central to the project, he sees himself as untouchable. Before his publicist quit last week, they announced that Spacey was, taking the time necessary. I think they were thinking about horseback riding and finger painting, so they stopped scrapping dicks. BuzzFeed News this week, though, spoke to more than a half dozen people connected to House of Cards for this story, 3 of whom who worked on the show in varying capacities, speaking, anonymity style. They described an atmosphere in which Spacey was sexually inappropriate with young men. He would be on the set, and he would make tons of jokes at young boys' expenses about them in a flirtatious way. It was if it was wanted attention, it would still be inappropriate because you're making flirtatious comments in front of a group of 150 people. Is that true? Like,
What do you mean?
well, he says even if it was wanted, by these people, if everyone was playing along, it'd still be inappropriate. That's what this guy was saying. Would you agree with that?
Inappropriate? Yeah,
if
sure.
He's making
He's
comments
sitting there-
like, come sit on my lap. You want to. Sit on my lap. It's like maybe it was Christmas. Played Santa. Did he have a beard on? Not to a gay man, but to a young, pretty-looking boy. That happened all the time. Spacey had allegedly sexually assaulted a production assistant during an early season. He jammed his hands down his pants, starts playing with his dong. He continued to harass that guy big time. Media Rights Capital, the company that produces House of Cards, told CNN in a statement, immediate action was taken following our review of the situation. We are confident the issue was resolved promptly to the satisfaction of all involved. Mr. Spacey willingly participated in a training process, and since that time, MRC has not been made aware of any other complaints involving Mr. Spacey. Among staffers on the set, conduct by Spacey was a constant conversation piece.
What do?
They knew about his behavior towards young men, especially on the set. They were all watching at Video Village. Video Village is, you see when they're filming something, you've got the monitors and directors behind them, and so they're looking at roll playback and stuff. That's
right.
They call those Video Village. So they're all watching at Video Village, and they see the behavior on camera and off camera that was uncomfortable and unprofessional. Unprofessional for a set. One source who was in his mid-20s when he worked on the show said he was warned about Spacey by a friend. He told me, if Kevin asks you to play video games in his trailer, you better bring someone along with you. It's like, that's all I needed to hear. I knew exactly what he meant. He touches and feels anyone he wants. Crossing Spacey could make things complicated. So one guy was like, dude, I'm not a homo. I don't want to go out on your fucking boat. And 2 days later, the guy was fired. And so they reached out to that guy. And the former PA wrote a text back to the writers of this article. It was like, look, my lawyers told me to wait to hear from them before I talk to anyone. I apologize, maybe tomorrow. And this is what pissed a lot of these guys up, who I was telling you about. Bo Williams is the House of Cards creator. During the time I worked with Kevin Spacey on House of Cards, I neither witnessed nor was aware of any inappropriate behavior on set or off. That said, I take reports of such behavior seriously, and this is no exception.
Cover his ass.
All 3, and this is a quote from the 3 people there, said, bullshit, utter bullshit, 100% bullshit. And this is a high-level source on House of Cards. He said, who saw Williams witness Spacey's behavior. I saw that Bo said he had no idea, which is complete bullshit. They had production meetings about Spacey's behavior towards crew and cast. It never made it any further than that. It was a joke. They all knew what was going on. The PA who got assaulted, everyone knew. that's what upset me as much as seeing Bo and all these guys and other people deny it. Williman added, I am heartsick that anyone on the crew had to endure such behavior. Clearly, we as an industry, particularly those in a position of power, myself included, need to be more perceptive and proactive.
Why don't you level with me then?
This is
Everybody's scrambling.
oh, it's so funny, but it's hard to explain to people, I think, because most people work in a regular company. They work at a regular place. And so it's like, yeah, there's one guy, one clown being an asshole. It's easy to cut that guy loose and never look back. But that decision has to be made much harder when you're talking about, they're trying to bury the Ray Rice video. And like, how do we get that motherfucker back on the team? Joe Mixon. God, until that video came out, we had a stern talk with him. He's back on the roster and he's learned his lesson. Like, it's about winning at all costs. It's why, when you pay a fortune to have a star like Kevin Spacey doing your Netflix series where it's like, well, I know he's grabbing dicks all day on set, but fuck.
Can't we work through this?
We need this to be a success. Can we just invent some training program that he needs to go through, and we'll give him a certificate to hang on the wall that he completed it? It's terrible, but I think in a lot of respects, that's exactly what's going on when you read over and over these people that are like, I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah. I love that all this is happening. It's so funny to see everybody freaking out.
Yeah.
It's
Couldn't happen to a cooler industry.
Oh, I know. It's sad, but it's true. I feel the same way. It's like, because they're the first ones that are going to be up there, preaching for women's rights. They're going to be in their pussy hats marching for women. And meanwhile, Harbinger Weinstein was doing that. It's like he's molesting 100 women a day, and here he is marching for women at the pussy parade. Hilarious. What were you going to say?
No, you're right. That's pretty much just what I was going to say. It's such that left eating itself or the progressive eating itself. They're going to say whatever they want about, the president, and we don't have to get into that necessarily. But, dude, they're all out here preaching this, and look what's going on, dude. This is way worse than anything they ever said that he did. All he kind of said was when you're a celebrity, you can get girls. That's really what I took that as.
Grab them by the pussy.
I know. They let you.
They let you.
They let
Keyword,
you.
let you.
He did say they
I
let
didn't
you, by the
steal it.
way.
They let you.
But I point
and that's
is,
fucking true. That's not a secret. That is true.
And it's like, look at this going on.
Look at gold diggers all over the globe. It doesn't make it right, but it's true.
No, it's just funny to me. It's just
Hypocrisy
funny.
abounds today.
That's
John.
all it is, and it's just kind of funny that the timing that it's all happening. And like you said about them scrambling, dude, I can only imagine in reality what it's like in some of probably Hollywood right now. Some of these guys have got to be like
Shitting
the witch hunt when what's his name?
Let's not make this a witch hunt.
Back up, slow down.
Almost
slow your roll.
shocked that more of them aren't being like, well, we're looking into it. Just don't worry about it. We're doing it ourselves.
Yeah.
Woody, as long as Woody's kept his nose clean, he's got to be loving this. He's like, yeah, I fucked my stepdaughter and married her, but whatever.
She
dude.
wanted it. Like we married each other.
Still with her. I mean, it worked out great, but say hi, Soon Yi. But at least I wasn't, coming on girls' legs all over Hollywood. It's terrible.
Hey, you have an annual physical to make sure you are healthy. What do you do to make sure you remain financially fit? Mark Leibovitz, our buddy at LPL Financial, specializes in thoughtful and objective investment guidance designed to keep your finances in shape. Call today, 248-626-2000. Ask for Mark.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA SIPC.
Jay, do you think LSD is a reasonable excuse for murder?
Yeah, I know where you're going with
Do you
this.
think that holds up?
This is one of the reasons, though, I never, ever dreamed about touching stuff like that. You just hear really bad stories about really bad trips, and this is apparently a 30-year trip or consequences of a bad trip.
And this hits a little close to home because we actually know someone who did something similar, took something, and then was just like, that never the same again.
That dude's a vegetable.
Yep, that's not going well. But yeah, this is the guy that not broke into, but just walked in the doors of Walmart. Was that a week ago?
Mm-hmm, in Colorado.
Yeah, and just pulled out his gun and shot a woman in the head and shot two guys in the head, and then walked out, hopped into his Mitsubishi something, and drove away. And they ended up catching him. Well, his sister is talking now and says that he has been tormented by voices in his head ever since he took LSD 30 years ago.
Say no to drugs, everybody. Say no.
She says this.
Shit.
Dude, I wasn't afraid of drugs where it was like, oh, yeah, you take that and you might die right here tonight. But those ones where it was like, yeah, dude, you might have a trip that you're just never the same.
Right.
Like, those ones scared me.
Yeah.
More than the ones where it's like, Oh, yeah, try it, but you might die.
Yeah,
but
your
try
heart
it.
might stop.
Yeah, I mean, it might explode literally here on the spot. It was like, well, sign me up. But I don't want to just be like walking around life just like shirtless, like a zombie forever. That sounds horrible. So, yeah, that's what he did. He heard he had voices in his head, demons, Michelle Willoughby said to the Denver Post. Prosecutors filed murder charges against Scott Ostrom, 47 years old. He looks older than 47 to me, doesn't he? So yeah, she says he was an outgoing, sociable, athletic guy. Took LSD at a party in '88. Afterward, became a recluse, haunted by voices.
How old did you say he is?
The devil was after him, big time.
47. So when he was 17-ish, you know, he did this, and now he's had voices in his head ever since.
Yeah,
seems like
voices carry.
But it seems like they should have done
Voices
something.
carry.
But where
Hush,
where
hush.
was?
Keep it down, down.
Voices carry.
Don't you think though she knew this? She knew he had voices. Was he going to seek help, or is he doing anything about it all of a sudden now? Like,
Well, I'm glad you asked, E, because it's a good question. I mean, if the devil is in your shit all the time, dude, that would suck, honestly. Like, as long as you've got the angel on one shoulder, devil on the other, it's like you can make some sense. But if it's just the devil hanging out,
I don't want to be there.
you don't want to be there. I don't want to even be there. So the family contacted a hospital. He underwent a drug intervention, but he didn't get psychological treatment. Probably should have veered him that way. He was frequently counseled by a priest who placed a crucifix on his forehead and commanded, "Demons, you leave this body right now.
Go on, get
Out of here, demon. We don't need you here, demon." So they did, and God silenced the voices. Demon, get out of his body. And so this Catholic priest did that for a while. So, I mean, that's something,
Okay,
right? That's some
okay.
sort of treatment. Fortunately, that priest died before he
So he
could
wasn't able to
fully
keep up with-
extract.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. You'd think if he was sick or something, he would be like, "Bill, I need you to cover. This demon is halfway out, but we got to get it out
I
of here."
think it's someone's responsibility to tell somebody else. Then, like, tell a professional. I don't know. I don't know what you could do, but I'm just saying.
But that goes back to our original point. Like, all this is just a spectrum. Like, the guy could have been fine, you know? Like,
But this is something where she knows he's talking about seeing demons.
I
and
know,
the
but
devil.
then it doesn't happen for a while,
Yeah.
and he seems to be getting along just fine. And at what point do you?
Yeah.
Is it her obligation then, as you say, to tell somebody and have him committed? He seems
Yeah.
otherwise normal.
Yeah,
And
good
then
point.
10 years later, he walks into a Walmart and blows people away, and
Yeah.
we again look back to the demons. I don't know.
I mean, honestly, dude, unless you're walking around nude outside covered in your own feces, they're not just going to drag you to a hospital.
Sometimes even then they
And-
just take you in for no. You know what I mean? They'll just take him in for the
Speaking
night
from
or some
experience,
shit. And
72
No.
hours, 72 hours.
yeah,
he drives around with turds in his car. You
Yeah.
know?
I mean,
He does
honestly,
some horrific shit. He doesn't get taken in.
what would the police do if we called him and went, "I don't know, man, I'm worried about this guy. He's kind of a dolt. He shit on my driveway. Then he put it in his trunk, and
Yeah.
it's been there for weeks. I don't know. Now he's going on a date. I'm worried he's going to kill this girl
Yeah.
or something. I don't know. Like, what do they do? I mean, do they laugh at you? Do they go, we better pick him up and check him out?
They don't have the resources.
that's
course
a good point.
not.
Like they would just you'd imagine that you calling and saying that exact statement. They'd probably just be like,
Okay, well,
Well, what's his name?
Has
Maybe
he
they-
threatened anybody?
right, maybe they look at my, what's his name? And well, he doesn't have anything on his
Pull
record.
up your record, yeah.
Well,
Speaking of poop, don't let me forget a poop story I want to bring up. But,
Oh, excellent. We'll do that next.
okay.
She goes on to say, "My brother is not a monster. He is not cold-blooded.
By definition, he is. If he's the guy who walked in there and did that.
Oh, without
that
question.
cold-blooded, monstrous murder.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know technically what the definition of, like, when you go, that guy's a monster, he's cold-blooded. I don't know what that exactly means, but I would think walking into a Walmart and randomly shooting
Indiscriminately,
dead,
three people,
Three
and then
people.
walking out.
I would say that's, like, totally monstrous and cold-blooded. Both. So I don't know if I believe her there. He hears these voices. Honestly, in my heart, I believe there is only so much a person can take.
Well,
Yeah.
then fuck you for not getting him help, lady.
Yeah.
And reporting him, as he said, you know?
There you go.
At some point, somebody has to be the responsible adult and get these people the help they need.
I love when they do this in the story, too. This guy walked in. He didn't know anyone in Walmart. He just pulled the trigger. And they're like, "Oh, by the way, all the victims were Latino, and he is white." Like, okay, what do you want me to do with that? Were you trying to make this a race thing? Is that what we're doing here? One psychiatrist from UCLA was like, Yeah, I don't think you can use LSD as the culprit. I'm sorry, it doesn't work like that. And he probably had some early childhood trauma that was unaddressed and led
He had
to
a pinky
this.
up his butthole at some point, no
Probably.
doubt about it.
Oh, who hasn't? It's not that big a deal. Whether it's yours or someone else's, what does it matter?
Quick poop story,
Stop
E.
killing
I
everyone.
think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the quadrupeds' appearance yesterday. Quite a showing, wasn't it, E? The quadrupeds,
Yes,
of course,
I
is
forgot.
the term that Jerry has given to the poops.
Oh, babu.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
sons of bitches.
we've got the bear and Izzy booked downstairs. So
I've been calling Bear Babu. Beth has, and so Babu. Oh, Babu.
I'll give you a quick synopsis. Door flings open, two poops book in.
Oh,
I'm really glad they didn't go for my important business documents like they usually do. They usually make a beeline for my important business documents and just make a mess of them. This time they just come running down in somewhat single file. One of them like poops on the run,
No.
and then Bear starts eating the poop
No.
off the
They,
floor.
they must
No,
have got
no.
that from the cat thing, maybe? I was
yeah.
thinking.
One of them did not poop on the floor, and the other ate it. That's absurd.
Are you kidding me? It's not absurd.
It's-
that was poop on the floor, and Bear ate them both.
Whether it was
there were
cat,
two turds.
whether it was cat or
It was
dog.
too big to be cat. It was
was
dog.
cat.
It was huge,
It
man.
was not. You got a close-up look. It looked bigger. Object in mirror. No, it was not. It was, dude. It was hard.
Are you trying
cat
to
shit,
Still not good.
Dude,
No, it's not
I'm not
good,
kidding
but-
you. That was bigger than cat shit.
Nah, no.
I didn't see it. I just.
My cats have bigger buttholes than yours. It's the problem.
Your cat.
cat.
Yeah, don't forget.
Yeah.
You only have one.
Whatever.
The other
Rest
one
in peace,
died.
monster. Rest in peace.
Monsty
Sweet monsty monst. Love you.
So does that make it better? Let's say
No.
it's cat turd.
No, but you know what's funny? Beth was standing at the top of the stairs. She's like, "Well, don't let her eat it." And I was like, "Bear, get out of there! Get out of there, Bear!" It's like, and
Rather
then-
have her eat it.
I'd rather have Bear take care of cleaning up that mess than me.
Hey,
God,
man.
just what a commercial for dog ownership. Honestly, it was like gross. The thing just ate. Two
It was
turds,
every
like-
it was every reason I would not want to have a dog anymore.
Yeah,
Those
just
two dogs-
unruly
not
assholes
even the
running
turd.
down here, just running around. And,
Yeah.
wet noses all
Oh,
over everybody, and
Babu.
then eat shit
Honestly,
off the ground.
the
Perfect.
turd wasn't even the worst part about it to me. Honestly, it's just the notion of like, well, when they go to a new place, that's how it is.
Yeah.
How it is they run up and down.
Yeah. Well, when we went upstairs, Babu was just standing. Bear.
You can't call it Baboo. Baboo.
Oh,
Every time you
Babu.
say that, rest in peace, Baboo, my little
I know,
beautiful cat Baboo. Baboo was my cat through law school.
Oh, dude, I remember Babu.
Beautiful,
Wait, which
beautiful
one was it?
little
Bug or
tabby.
Babu that had the eyes?
It was beautiful, Baboo.
Yeah, Babu's eyes were gorgeous. Had one of those flattish faces with big eyes. Oh, gorgeous.
Well, she was a standard tabby. Let's not overdo it. She was a standard tabby, but
Dude.
her eyes popped.
yeah,
she
she
was
had Billy Joel eyes.
50 times more beautiful than Tony.
How fucking dare you?
You know what? As much as I hate Big E, and I do. Hi, Mrs. Fady. I'm sure you're watching. As much as I hate Big E, Tony is a gorgeous little guy.
Nothing compared to little Baboo, though.
Yeah, well, Babu was the shit, dude.
So stop calling this dog, this
All right. Well-
unruly dog, Baboo. It's
all right,
Bear.
I want to get. What were you gonna say?
So Bear, I go upstairs and next to the between the island and the sink, Bear is standing there and just leaps up into the sink, like going
A
after the
full-size
cat.
German Shepherd.
Yeah,
Leapt into the sink.
four paws on the counter, but there was water on the it was wet, and so she slipped and fell down.
And
But
how did you use this as a teaching moment to teach her that is
Oh,
not appropriate?
Babu, no, off, Babu.
Boy, she won't do that again.
Yeah. Anyway, glad you brought that up. I thought you were going to have a nice dump story for all of us involving
No.
one of your children.
No.
That was not really a dump story. That was more of a chance to bash the dog. I don't know what that was purpose that served. Let's take a break. And did you hear about the guy that went to the White House?
Yep.
He's trying to kill a bunch of white
Yep.
cops.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll get into his story next.
The Detroit Cast continues after this short break. The Detroit Cast continues now, bitches. Here's Mike and Jay.
All right, welcome back to the Detroit Cast, powered by DealsInTheD.com. Mike and Jay. I mentioned the guy at the White House going to go kill all white police officers. I don't think he said white people. All white people are devils. We know that, but I think he was specifically gunning for white police officers.
So he headed out to the White House to start.
Well, yeah,
start his campaign.
Yep. He was arrested, unfortunately, at the White House after he traveled to Washington to kill all white police. Secret Service said that an alert has been issued in Maryland to be on the lookout for Michael Arega. Michael,
Michael,
what are you doing, dude? Like, really? You're going to advertise on Facebook that you're off to kill the white cops at the White House?
They're walking amongst us, man. Shit.
Officers spotted him on the north side of Pennsylvania Avenue. He'd even checked in and posted his location as the White House on Facebook.
Awesome.
Police,
hey, if you're gonna do it, I mean, might as well check in.
They got the Secret Service. They're like, all right, just watch for this guy. I'm sure a sniper's just following him right up the avenue. You know,
got him. Here we go.
Could blow up his head if you want me to. You want me to?
Checked in
Say
on
when.
Facebook.
And they've got maps like with a dot pointed
yeah.
on his Facebook, like at the White House. I'm here. And where are the white ones? Send the white cops out. And so my thought is, what would have happened if he actually would have killed a couple cops? And then it's like, well, we went through his social media, and for days he's been bragging about going to the White House to kill white cops. Because basically...
Well, if he doesn't have that many friends, though, I mean...
I know, but it's... So anyway, how did they figure this out? How did they crack this? Well, it took his fucking wife calling him going, yeah, my husband's a dope, and he claims he's going to kill a bunch of white cops at the White House. Might want a heads up for that. And so that's what they did. He's been making threatening statements. So
is that page possibly still up? Is that what you're checking?
Yeah, trying to.
He wrote, and wouldn't you, dude? If you were Jay, and I know this is a long shot, but I know personally, if I was going to make that post on Facebook,
I'm turning her in. If you're asking me if Gab did that, turning her in.
Yeah,
letting justice take its course.
Sure, I agree. But no, if you were going to make this post, you know how they do these now with the red, and it's this big post you can do. Wouldn't you make sure that your grammar and the way you worded it were proper? Like, if you're going to make the grand statement of going to the White House to kill a bunch of white cops.
That's a grand declaration. I agree. It ought to be stated succinctly and properly.
And you don't want to give people the ammunition to go, oh, he's got too soon, like he's going there.
Yeah.
Oh, man, now you look like an asshole.
Revelation, what? Does he really
cite a Bible verse? That's the image, right?
Yeah. So his post here, now I am going to White House, make sure kill all white police.
Man, just give it a quick proofread. A quick proofread solves it.
There it is.
There he is, checked in at the White House.
I am at the White House.
Only 34 likes.
34 likes.
Not all of them are likes either. There's some of them are angry faces.
How many friends does he have?
You're right. That's the next question. Let me see here.
Let's see, right at the top, Jesus.
Yeah, usually it's right at the top.
Friends.
113? Did I say 95 followers? That's
not bad for a mere mortal. I mean, if you're not a podcast hero, a mere mortal.
Go to his timeline. Go back to his timeline and scroll down right past the White House one. I want to see if that's where this was posted. Remove the power of darkness from USA.
Spells darkness wrong.
Fuck, darkness. Darkenese.
One S.
Holy shit. There's
Darkennis.
Darkennis. Dude.
He's removing Darkennis. I agree with him. I don't like Darkennis.
Okay, you make sense of that. I don't.
All money, car, homes, all belongings to human being, not only for rich God, own all.
That's a true statement, though. Honestly, if you really break that down, I think what he's going for there is right on.
All of us, we need freedom. All human, God created equal. No body above the law.
That's true as well. This guy's making some solid points. I got to be honest.
Song lyrics or these statements? Thank you, Jesus. You bring true justice for your people. Pepoli in America. All those Pepolis.
I'm trying to see if there's any. I'm trying to actually go down and see.
What is a leer? Oh. The leer and the spirit of darkness. He spelled darkness right that time. I think he meant liar.
Look at churches, and he tries to say policies or politics.
Politics, I think.
It says poltices.
And churches that's not right. Polteses, mind I remove it by the power name of Jesus Christ.
I was trying to see if he has
I do not mind if you move it by the name of Jesus Christ, personally.
This guy, so much of the education system failed him.
I just wanted to see if there was real posts on here. Like, is there anything that's not, like, you know what I mean? I was trying to eventually.
Yeah, what are these red things you speak of?
People are doing that a lot now. I don't know how they do it, but
It's easy, but
yeah, people are doing that to us too. TDC stuff. I don't know. It makes it jump out, I guess.
I was just trying to see if does he have anything that's just like at the ball game? It's all just.
So is this guy a black guy? I'm picturing him as a white guy.
Here you go. I don't know, whatever that is. He's on the spectrum. He's like black coffee with 2 creams.
He's a person of color.
Right.
Yeah.
Indian?
Yeah, he does. I don't know.
Obvious.
This picture, yeah, he doesn't just look like your standard African American guy.
No.
Not that there's a standard African American guy, Mike.
Absolutely not.
But he doesn't look like a standard white guy.
So he
Look at this, man. He's,
Something in between.
He's sort of like checking in on everything, though. Here he is checking in
at
the days
in. That's where they checked first. The cops were like, well, let's saunter over the Days Inn on Silver Spring. Let's see what's going on. And he wasn't there, so they radioed back to the White House like he might be on his way. Just
watch for his check-in.
He might be Indian. He might be black. We don't know. If he's got a red dot on his forehead, just aim for that.
It's a person of color.
The only response to his checking in the days Inn has one person with a sad face.
That was Ty Lee. Ty Lee was sad about that. So yeah, the one of the ones he posted too was a picture of Trump holding a musket, and it was in relation to his comments about the church shooting. And he just wrote, "Kill him in Jesus' name."
Oh man,
about the president. So yeah, well, thank God he's off the streets right now. And can we get him some, I don't know, English course?
But
something.
Again, man, we keep coming back to these people are walking amongst us.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I feel like the more we talk about this, Mike, this mental illness issue might be a really big issue in our country.
You think? Do we need to do something about this?
I mean, god damn.
The problem is the spectrum you talked about. That's the problem.
It's a free society.
Dude, it's not black and white.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's not light and dark. It's just this.
It's a coffee with 2 creams, as you
It
said.
is, dude. And it's just this huge spectrum of guy talking to himself on the street. Well, you know, maybe he's working something out, but he's fine.
I know. What do you do with it? Yeah. What do you do with it? Hey, the most incredible deals of the year only happen once, and that's during Zott M59 Chrysler Jeep's Black Friday sales event going on right now. During this once-a-year sales event, you can lease a new 18 Chrysler 300 with heated leather seats, heated steering wheel, 8.5-inch touchscreen, and all-wheel drive at just $279 a month. See all the deals and surf their massive inventory at dealsinthed.com. Get there.
I don't know what this video is, and it's not playing for some reason, but it was like a Facebook Live video he did. But like, look at someone here.
Guy.
Some here referencing like
so many of these whack jobs are like, do all these over the top preachings about Christ.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean?
So good to see you and that you're still following Christ. Remember, there are only 2 paths, Isaac, 2 choices. You are either for him or against him. There are no lukewarm Christians. 1 equals destruction, evil, immorality, perversion, profanity. See more.
Yeah. But it's all the people. Amen.
Person?
God bless.
God
bless. It's like, dude, really? You're such a God-fearing man, yet you're just going to go to the White House and indiscriminately murder white cops? Really?
Crazy. God.
It is. Dude, what's going on in people's heads? Did you see this Kansas City by Kansas State University, this car that was on Halloween was spray painted?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. I mean, this is just awful. Awful. I apologize for the language in advance, but Go Home Niggers was painted on this car. Date your own kind, boy. When you throw boy in there, that's very specific.
Mm-hmm.
Die, fuck you, N-word.
Just know that all white people are fucking devils.
So it's covered in racial slurs, all against blacks, and was parked at this apartment complex near Kansas State University. Fueled racial tensions, as they always do. Emergency meeting was called of the Black Student Union. Drew concerned administrators, community leaders, students. Kansas State held a Facebook Live event the next day with worried parents. The university stepped up patrols on campus. The FBI opened a civil rights investigation into a possible hate crime. Yesterday, the police department was forced to come out and say, we found the owner of the car, Dauntarius Williams, and he says, yeah, I did the graffiti myself.
Black guy.
Black guy.
That's creative.
That was on me. I did that. I wrote all those hateful things on
Just
my
like-
own car.
Just like the EMU story.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, that's productive.
You But it was, it was a Halloween prank that got a little out of hand, is what he said. What kind of Halloween prank?
Dude. Starts with spray painting
Duh.
racial slurs against your own race.
Authorities concluded that charging him for filing a false police report would not be in the best interest of the citizens. Good move. The university plans to continue its stepped-up patrols and review and its review into whether more cameras are needed to enhance safety on campus. The incident maybe wasn't real, but the emotions were.
Yes.
It's
a good opportunity to start a dialogue, I would
Sure.
say.
Police, this pisses me off, man. I really like.
Throw the book at him.
Dude.
Throw the book at him.
You have no mercy on these. This is done to gin up shit between the races. Is there anything worse? Is there anything worse than purposefully trying to cause shit between different races of people?
I would
It's
argue
awful.
a pinky up a 6-year-old's butt.
Okay,
It's worse.
maybe. Some would argue it's not. I can get over a pinky up my butt. But this is incredible to me.
It's infuriating.
And I've read dozens of these accounts, whether it's a girl on the train getting her hijab pulled on as they yell Trump. You find out after a little investigation, bullshit, never happened. There are countless stories like this. And this guy wrote all over his car, N-word, boy, like all these very, very personal, hurtful things towards the black community. And so they're like, well, police said, well, Williams was genuinely remorseful and expressed sincere regret that his actions resulted in negative media attention. The whole situation got out of hand when it shouldn't have even started. It was just a Halloween prank that got out of hand. Yeah, I wish I could go back to that night, but I can't. I just want to apologize from the bottom of my heart for the pain and news I have brought you all.
I'd like for him to define the prank. What was
Yeah.
the context of the prank? And then
Yeah.
how did it get out of hand?
Yeah, I'd love to know, because
Yeah.
it seems like it was out of hand to begin with. It didn't get out of hand. You know what I mean?
Right.
Police wanted to remind you, Jay, to please recognize that he, like many of us when we were young, is a young man who made a mistake. He's now doing his best to own up to it. Fuck you. No. In my opinion, every one of those people needs to have the book chucked at them, make an example of every one of these people, and it's like, oh, you got 6 months in jail for fucking doing that? For trying to incite unrest in your neighborhood? Because that's what you're doing. Don't make no mistake. They're not going to charge him with a hate crime. Why? That's exactly what that is.
Yeah, instead he's turned into a victim of sorts, right?
Yeah.
Well, those are real feelings, and
learning
start a
moment.
dialogue, and let's talk about these things.
who
It's
has-
brutal. That's brutal.
Yeah.
He ought to be prosecuted.
I wish there were prosecutions, heavy fines and sentences, honestly, and then news coverage of it, so that people thinking about this kind of shit go, wow, it's not as easy to pull that off as you think. And when you get under the hot lights of questioning from a police officer, a lot of times these people fold. And then the real story comes out, but it's not highly reported. And so it makes it seem that there's this horrible unrest all the time. I'm with you, Jay. Throw the book at him.
The book. Make it a big book, too.
Yeah, fuck the book.
Right in the head.
Right in the head. Lastly, before we get to some email, woman gave birth to a baby girl in the backseat of her car. Mm-hmm. You've done that. You had to do that where you're like hauling balls.
Dude, I almost had to deliver that little sweet pie.
Yep.
That little tiny girl.
she was just
Little
falling
tiny girl, peanut brittle. I almost had to deliver her. I've told the story. I was hauling balls,
Yeah.
and Gab couldn't make it to the hospital that we were, going to in Farmington Hills from Lake Orion. Can't hold it for a minute, Gab.
Yeah, Jesus
So we
Christ,
ended up
just
having
clinch.
to go to Pontiac.
Clinch?
Yeah, and where my little sweet pie was born.
Yeah. You made it just in time?
Yes.
So what did they
barely.
do? They throw her on like a gurney and wheel her in, and then as soon as they got in there, it was like,
I pulled up and said, "My wife's having a baby," and the dude with the wheelchair grabbed her and took her
Settle
inside,
down, folks.
and I went to park like just 20 feet away, and by the time I got in the door, she was gone, and I'm like, rat in a maze trying to find where she went.
Yeah.
By the time I do find the maternity area, the baby's being born. I mean,
Really?
it was insane.
wow.
That
So
little
did
sweet
you really
pie.
run
A
in?
peanut brittle.
Did you really run in and go, well, wife's having a baby?
Yes, I actually did. I used that phrase. My wife's having a baby.
Like, I would have
Quick.
walked in and been like, I'm sorry to bother you. Hold on. Oh, God.
No, it was like a movie
think-
scene, man.
Well, this guy, the husband, is hauling balls to the hospital with his wife. She's about to deliver her own little brown nut.
Nut brown.
Not brown. Fuck. We're talking about Hongwei Zang. And Hongwei, when the moment came and it was like, it's go
Hongwei.
time.
That sounds like a dude's name.
Yeah, Hongwei is the dude's name, the husband.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's why it sounds like that, yeah. So Hongwei, it's like The wife says, hey, I'm having the baby. And he's like, hey, I'll grab suitcases. He grabs it, and he gets in the car, and it's like, Hongwei, you got one job. Get us to the fucking hospital. Get us to the hospital. I'm going to be honest with you, Jay. Hongwei panicked. And Hongwei...
Dude, it's your opportunity, Hongwei.
Dude, is there anything worse than a husband who is like, ah! In the moment when you have to be a man, you're the one that needs comforting because you panic.
Right.
Dude, no woman wants that.
You hear stories about that. Like, you know, the husband faints or the husband gets sick and barfs on the floor while the wife is laying there like, are you fucking kidding me, man?
I have a 20-pound bowling ball shooting out of my vagine. Come on,
now,
sack up.
In these husbands' defenses, I told you, I almost fainted too.
I think my dad did too.
Yeah.
But you held it together.
I did.
And you got her to the hospital.
But I only almost fainted because that little tiny girl, the sweet pie, came out, and the umbilical cord, much like E's situation, we had an umbilical cord around the neck. We had nurses trying to revive or get her going a little bit. You know, she wasn't breathing at first, and everything just like, oh my god, this kid's gonna die came upon me, and I felt myself being pressed to the floor. It was a crazy feeling. But I manned up. I was like, I've got to be strong.
For your wife, for the family. I'm the man holding this. I'm the glue holding this package together.
Learn from me, Hongwei.
Hongwei, what you didn't do, Jay, was run across 4 lanes of a deserted San Diego road.
What?
And absolutely total his car. Crashes. Both airbags go off. And then he's left at 3 in the morning running across the street trying to flag down motorists. Please, stop car. Wife having baby. She's having baby. That's what Hongwei did.
Nice.
Frantically waving his arms trying to get someone to assist his wife, Ying Shi, who was about to give work. By sheer luck, the driver going by was a registered nurse who just finished a shift out at Scripps Hospital.
My gosh.
And he was saying, my wife. The next thing he said, the baby came, which is
gross.
Even
sort of advanced for a baby.
Dude, I didn't even know that was possible. And if so,
boy or girl?
It must have been a boy. Well, I don't know. But first off, I wouldn't even think you would notice that. It would be so far from your mind. And then to announce it to us, the baby came. Like, okay, what do you want me to do? Give him a fucking trophy?
Give him a cigarette?
Jesus. So anyway, Dana Dumont is the nurse. I took a peek. There was a baby. The mother was in the seat with a baby girl between her legs and in her pants.
She delivered it herself, just laying in the back seat of a car while her husband tried to flag somebody down for help. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Nice husband.
Zhang's car was absolutely completely written off. As both airbags were deployed, it was almost impossible to open the passenger door where his wife was. Dumont checked to make sure the umbilical cord wasn't wrapped around the infant's neck. It was not, so hopefully this kid's not, going to fall into a bucket of paint at someday soon. You know what I mean? Zhang then managed to regain enough composure. Finally, Zhang comes around now that the hard part's done, and he's failed miserably at the only job he had. He finally gets some composure, calls for an ambulance. Police confirmed that Zhang had taken too wide a turn and slammed into a number of concrete barriers. I mean, just...
He flipped out.
Dude, sometimes the moment is just too big for people. You know what I mean? Zhang, and she issued a statement. Want to hear their statement?
Sure.
First of all, can I have your attention, please? First of all, I am a shit driver. No, he didn't say that. As Christians, he's using God to get himself out of this. You son of a bitch! I see what you're doing.
How does God get him out of this?
People go, he's a good God-fearing man. I don't beat him up too bad. As Christians, we want to thank God for keeping us safe through all of this, with no help from me. Next, we want to thank all of the people who gave us a help. When this happened, we thought we were all alone, but very quickly, a woman stopped to help and called the 911. Then a man stopped to assist, an actual man who did not panic in the moment. They were both complete strangers, but they stopped to help us anyway. We're grateful for paramedics who took care of them and the baby, and grateful for the doctors, nurses, and staff. They named the baby Anna, which is weird. From a Hongwei and a
Ling Shi or something like that?
Yeah, Ying Shi.
Yeah, it'd be like us, going to China having a baby or naming it Ling.
Yeah.
Be weird.
Or Long Dong.
Yeah, Long Duck Dong.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I just wouldn't, Hongwei and Ying give birth to an Anna?
Okay.
All right. Cool.
Whatever.
Sure. Can we get some email?
Before we do that, got to tell you about the Hamlin Pub. They have 5 locations: Clarkston, Chesterfield, Rochester, and 2 in Shelby Township. Hamlin Pub offers a wide selection of craft beers. Most of them are brewed right here in Michigan. They have great happy hour specials Monday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m., half off appetizers on Monday. Check out all their specials at all 5 locations. Go to hamlinpubs.com for more info. Before we get to email proper, I have post. I have an interesting post here, Mike.
Yeah.
It begs a question. Who the hell would buy this post or take this post off a ledge or whatever? It's at Harrah's, okay? Harrah's in Las Vegas.
Okay.
And it's advertising a buffet. And it's entitled A Buffet with a Peel. And it's featuring Bananas Foster made to order. Who would do this?
I'll tell you who.
Who?
Some cheap cocksucker who goes up to the register, and these are sitting there for free.
Just grabbed it,
just
right?
take one. It was just like, oh, let's send the guys a post. No one bought this. No one would buy that.
Well, you know who sent it? I believe her name is Corey, and she's been cleaning out her late Nana's stuff.
Oh, no. Was that Nana's?
God rest her soul, yeah. She
Well,
found this
sorry
post.
for lost.
Found the post on the bottom of my Nana's closet. It was not used like yours and Gab, she says. This post is at least 20 years old. Good day, sir. I said good day. Yeah, so.
Into the
like so much stuff as humans, and it's like then you die, and it's just there.
Yeah, somebody has to deal
All
with that.
this
Corey has to
stupid
grab
shit.
that postcard off the bottom of your closet floor.
You know what, though? Nana collected that 50 years ago, and nobody thought it had a purpose until Corey finds it and sends it here. It's talked about on a show like ours. Like, it did have a purpose.
I know.
Broadcast around the world.
Dude, that postcard has traveled the globe now.
I know, you're right.
Harrah's is going to have a run on their Bananas Foster.
Yeah.
That postcard was meant to hang around all those years, E, and this is the reason.
I think I was just more like when you
Everything happens for a reason, E.
Right, of course. When you have that postcard, and I talked about going to the flea market recently. I know that was like 2 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. I don't remember. But that's what really struck me there again too. Was just like, dude, you're walking around this building, dude, full of just crap. And it's just like
but some of it's interesting, isn't it?
No, some of it is interesting, but it's just funny because
It's
like we
mostly
all
shit,
just
though.
collect this shit. You think it's kind of cool, like, oh, I like this Disney movie, so I buy all the things with this Disney movie. Then you die, and now it's just boom. Now it's at the flea market, and someone's like, I'll pay 50 cents for that. It's just so
the
funny
best
to
is
me.
when you see someone dies, and then like next garbage day, there's a mountain of shit on the
Right.
street. It's like, oh, someone just went,
Their
I don't
whole life,
fuck
dude.
all of it, man. Just throw it on the curb. No, I don't care. He's
Their
gone.
whole-
Fuck him.
Their whole life is just now on the curb.
On the curb. some vagrant is picking through it now.
Yeah, how much of that would that person have been horrified to know was just out on the curb? And how much of it would they have agreed? Yeah, it's probably garbage. Get rid of it.
Nah, those people want to hang on to all that shit.
Email, an important one just came across the wires. Really, says Aaron, no discussion of the major internet disruptions yesterday and how it highlights that we will be totally butt-fucked as a country if the internet goes out. Many businesses couldn't process credit cards, so commerce stops, except for those who only take cash, righty?
Yeah.
Companies using cloud-based apps could access data, so production stops. They couldn't, and banks using VPN for transactions between branches were halted, so the economy stops. It was total chaos! If it had been later in the evening, Eric wouldn't have been able to whack off. Mike wouldn't have been able to play whatever iPad game he's playing now, and Jay wouldn't have been able to. Well, Jay would probably be just fine. Hey, right.
Here's the problem, Aaron. I'll tell you right now. That's true. If that happened, we may have had some difficulties here ourselves.
It affected our show. Indeed,
did.
if you look back at the show outline from yesterday,
Yeah.
we had no email.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that.
Yes.
Our internet was down.
I think E wasn't able to tag it properly in the video either because we didn't have proper internet. The problem is when we do a story like that, it's like, yeah, I don't know, man. I pushed the button and it didn't come on. So we sound like morons. I'm going to call Cache. We're going to sound like we do when we talk about a superhero we don't understand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people are screaming at us.
I mean, I just read VPN, Do I really know what that is? No.
Duh.
No. But I know that it has something to do with bank transactions that weren't able to be made yesterday.
That's right.
Because Aaron said so.
And then some nerds are going to go, you fucking moron.
I didn't even
you
know there was
what?
a real
The
thing."
VPN had nothing to do with the transactions not going down, idiot.
It's Ethernet, dickheads.
Christ, dude. What are you, fucking dude? You don't know this shit? Moron.
No, what Aaron is pointing out is perhaps we could have pulled a story concerning said outage, which I saw many. But,
You know what?
It happened.
Dude,
Did
I
you know
honestly,
about it
those stories,
beforehand
I
or
get
afterwards, though?
I didn't know
No,
about it.
I didn't
so-
know it was happening.
No.
I read about it
Okay.
yesterday.
I get, I don't know, 3-4 sentences in, and I'm snoozing,
Yeah.
man. I mean, it's a sleeping pill to me, reading about computer issues. But he's right. I mean, we are on.
Yeah, you've been saying that for years. Like
Yeah.
that's the one that scares the shit out of you. Is
Yeah.
the outage of the internet.
Yep. That because it's
Not
it's,
the bomb going off in the middle of Times Square. It's
No.
the internet outage that will absolutely cripple us and turn us into monsters.
Yes, we'll be eating our own, and no.
I wonder how long
the
it would
reason-
take of no internet, honestly. A week?
Dude, the reason it scares me.
Fucking, how am I going to watch football tonight and everything, you know?
Yeah, as if the game would even be going on.
Angst would just start building up and building up. And
The reason it terrifies me is because it doesn't matter how fucking huge and amazing your military is, how much might you have. It can take one fucking nerd, and he can wipe out a block of, he can take out a GPS satellite, and it's like, oh, all right, that's
Thanks,
great.
nerd.
Now what? It takes somebody. It levels the playing field. Where some rogue asshole, it's going to happen. And our defenses, we've read books, we've heard stories. Our defenses are jack shit. It's like, well, when it happens, we'll deal with it then. And I kept hearing, well, that'll be 3 years before the lights come back on. So, good luck with that. I'll be so dead. It's going to happen.
you
People
will.
are just never going to hear from us again. Like, one day you're going to wake up and be like, oh, man, I guess the Detroit cast.
well, they won't
is
even
on.
know that they're missing it because they won't be able to go on their internet.
I know.
Ed asked a good question via email, and it's one that I posed to our visitor Jerry last week as well. Did anyone ask Jerry if he was aware of Ray and Pete?
Well,
I'm not sure if he would find that fascinating or horrible. Well, I think we mentioned this maybe when we were doing the telethon. You might have talked about the fact.
very briefly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually asked Jerry that, and he
In a joking fashion.
Yeah.
Me, you, and
Like-
Jerry went to lunch, and we're sitting at lunch, just the three of us. And Jay, I was like rolling my eyes, like, oh yeah, Jay, okay,
Right.
sure, of course he's heard of. Stop it. He doesn't know what the 49ers are. Like seriously, he's gonna know who Ray and Pete
like,
are.
hey, man, any chance? I kind of looked at you. I'm like, any chance he would know Ray and Pete? And you're like, pfft. And then you start to explain what Ray and Pete was, and Jerry's like,
Oh wait,
and Jerry didn't just listen to the whole story and go, oh yes, I know that. He added
heard
to
of
it in the middle of it. He goes, wasn't there a fellow who was recording them through the wall?
and we're like,
Yeah, dude.
yeah,
That's him.
I knew the fellow that was recording them through the wall.
Yeah.
And we're like, what? He's like, yes, I don't think I ever met them, but I knew the fellow that recorded
And
them
he
through
knew
the
where
wall.
it was going on, and yeah.
I was talking about the Pepto-Bismol building, which was just their shitty building that they lived in that was painted pink, so they called it the Pepto. He's like, oh yes, I remember the Pepto-Bismol
It's been
building.
repainted several times.
It's not pink anymore. I was like, yeah, I know it's brown now, but he's like, yes. Jerry fucking from the Jacks absolutely was aware of
Ray and Pete, yeah.
Yes. Oh yes, the men, they would fight really loud, and the neighbor couldn't stand it. So,
very loudly.
and it wasn't like he knew it from a website or he heard us talk about it and got a bootleg of the tape. No, he like firsthand.
Knew people involved.
It's like, oh, he was very furious. Started taping them through the walls because no one would do anything. Oh my.
The chances that you get
Dude.
hold of both of those stories,
Yeah.
and those become things.
Tied in. They're actually not that far from each other. Ray and Pete and the Jacks. They're kind of in that.
Then a couple
You
miles.
live south of Market, like in the shitty area of San Francisco. I mean, go live south of Market. You're on welfare.
Dennis chimes in. Concentration camp sex. In Auschwitz, the SS actually set up a brothel with female inmates. They used it as a reward for non-Jewish inmates. Dennis.
Well,
Gross. That's awful.
That's a cherry on top of that awful
But that was
Sunday,
some hot
isn't it?
sex.
I know, dude. God.
Oh, could you, dude? Just try to imagine going through life. You're a 30-year-old woman. You've got a couple kids and a shitty husband, and all of a sudden, some
This
raving
really outspoken
lunatic,
dude in Germany comes to power.
He starts preaching, and everyone's like, "Look at this fucking nut! What is this with his mustache?" And all of a sudden,
Nobody has a mustache like that.
Sieg Heil, Sieg Heil.
Chuck Chaplin, that's it. But no one else.
All of a sudden, people are like buying into his shit. Next thing you know, you're packed like a sardine onto a fucking train to Auschwitz. And now it's like, oh, if that's not bad enough, we're gonna make this brothel over here, stuff you in it, and you're just gonna put out as a reward. You're a reward now for a non-Jew. Fuck the Jews. We're just going to torch all them. Oh, and then when you're done with that, when we wear your vagina out, we're going to gas you to death. Ugh. Dude, how do humans get there? How do humans get there?
It's not all bad news, Mike. Let me read an email from Jen. Jen writes in concerning concentration camp love.
Wow.
Scholar, holla, and do anything for a dollar. I am writing to let you know that my busha and my jaja, which is Polish for grandma and grandpa, literally met in a concentration camp in Germany during World War II.
What?
When Germany came through Poland during the Blitzkrieg, they did not take only Jews like Jay. They took my family away. I'm not Jewish. They took my family away from their homes and put them in work camps. I have so many amazing stories from both of them, but my favorite one is my busha somehow saved his life, and he told her that if they survived, he would marry her and bring her to America, where her father had been since before the war, and the rest is history. They made it here in the 40s after World War II and had 3 children and 12 grandchildren.
Wow.
I lost them both over the last 8 years. Another crazy fact, my other grandpa fought the front lines in the Battle of the Bulge. He even had a Purple Heart. He got blasted with shrapnel.
I'm still fighting that war,
by
the
way. Had a butt scar, I hear.
I'm fighting that war for a few years now. Battle of the Bulge. I didn't realize it goes back that far. That's amazing, though.
Yeah.
Like how you would find some humanity in existence like that, you know?
And then on goes the family, you know, with 3 kids and 12 grandkids. Amazing.
Sure.
Larissa writes in concerning GNR. Hey, guys, just wanted to chime in on the GNR concert last week. We were upper tier, not the greatest seats. In fact, I'm sure we came close to having a nasal hemorrhage at the altitude we were, but we were there. I thought Axl sounded pretty friggin' amazing overall. Maybe not 92 Axl, but nevertheless a solid performance. For him to still have that voice these many years later is pretty incredible. For a bit, it did seem like the Slash show with a few too many guitar solos, but you just can't deny they can all still rock out a kick-ass show. And the fact that they went on as long as they did made it all the more awesome. This is definitely a band that signified my high school years for sure, although I never had a chance to pack a U-Haul and see them back in the day. Winky face! Yeah. Also, I had a blast at the Jerry event. It was great to actually meet The Voice. Funny story, my little sweet pie was looking through my phone images and asked me, did you take a picture with a wizard?
Well, yeah.
Referring to the one and only Jerry and his beaming crown. I said, yes, I did, and he is quite well known. I just got a expression from her and was trying my best not to lose it. Keep rocking, Larissa.
That's funny. The GNR thing, one thing I wanted to mention, too, was did you notice Axl kept running back? Like, like into some like weird like compartment. Usually, you would just assume someone's changing their outfits.
Me and Dan talked about it several times
weird
to each other
because he wasn't changing. He didn't change that much. I mean, a hat here, a scarf there. You know, I think he had a T-shirt change at one point, but it wasn't.
He had a sweet leather coat with a wolf on the back.
He did
that I called a husky.
Yes,
it was. It's really a pretty white trash looking coat.
Yeah, sure.
It's ridiculous.
I believe there were frills or
there were frills.
Fringe.
No, dude, you are correct, dude. He went to the back several times. Like the minute Slash would go into a solo, it'd be like, oh, there goes.
Maybe he was doing a little entertainer secret.
Maybe. Which is fine. I don't care.
Something
But
of
I'm
the
just
sort.
saying. Yeah, I noticed that.
Lastly, the other thing too was I did notice it did stand out to me. Like usually you see bands and it's like the singer can't wait to go over the guitarist, put his arm. around
there's none of that.
There was zero contact between those main band members. Like there was no like back-to-back rock star poses. It was like
I will say this: I saw 2 shows earlier in the tour, the Detroit and the Toronto. This time there was overtly more Duff McKagan out front.
Yeah.
Which last time it was Axl and Slash kind of on the sides, and again they're not doing the back-to-back Keith and Mick type stuff at all.
Yeah.
They're just doing their thing separately. But this time it was the 3 of them out front.
Yeah.
3 of them
As it
out
should
front.
be.
Yeah.
I
they're the main players, but it's clear, you know, they're going through the motions a bit. Probably not the best of friends, but putting on a rockin' show and raking in the funds.
It is funny that you mentioned that because I look for that stuff when I go to shows. Like, do they look like they're legit having fun together? And he walked over by the guys a few times, but never touched them. Never, you're right. Never kind of did the shoulder on the arm, maybe while he's singing.
No,
never did any. You're like the back to back, and none of that stuff. Like they were by each other a few times.
There was 2 feet space between. No matter how close they were to each other, at all times there was at least a couple feet between them. Man, I don't know what that signifies. I actually look forward to, you know, when we talked to Mick Wall, he said, dude, there's new music coming. They're working on new music. I'd love to hear some new music.
But what I would say is a positive, though, in a way, would be, though, they did that long of a show, and he didn't really talk, man. To do 3.5
Oh, there was
hours, it wasn't like
almost zero stage
Right, it
banter.
was-
There was about
Yeah.
2 sentences.
Yep.
right.
Like
but
said
that's-
something about your boy Verlander.
Yeah, Verlander
and
winning
good,
the World
good
Series.
for them.
Yeah,
And that was it.
right.
Yeah.
Good to be back to Detroit.
Yeah.
But to do that time, and not have moments where he's like going on rants or this or that, it's kind of impressive.
Very impressive.
All right, gentlemen, should we call it there?
We'll save the rest for tomorrow.
All right, very good.
Do we have some other stories, though?
You know what? I do have one here. I've got 2. Why don't we do? We'll pop into the members area, do a little bit more.
Let's do it.
All right. Thanks everybody for hanging with us. We'll do it again tomorrow. We'll see you then.
You've been listening to the Detroit Cast with your hosts, Mike and Jay. From all of us at Radio for One Studios, thank you for listening. And as always, thank you, Detroit. Just